Well, I guess we'll get this meeting, this town hall meeting underway. I was really hoping I would have more representation up here tonight, but so be it, we'll get it done. I would like to start by saying I want to keep this meeting professional. We're adults up here. We're all trying to work towards the same goal, I think. So let's just keep it cool and try to take care of business. We're not going to get anything accomplished with a bunch of yelling and just unprofessionalism. So I'd appreciate if everybody could just be respectful and we'll get this work through. We'll get this work through. So let's see, how do we want to start?
But you want to be in the spotlight?
Gals, come on up here and sit. You're going to be the ones, you know, explaining a lot of this. I do want to say, you know, these policy provisions needed to happen. Yeah.
Which ones need to happen?
All of it. Our utilities sector has needed some work and review for many years. So these things just didn't come about for months. These girls, we've reached out to other municipalities, MPUA, and they spent a lot of time putting this together. So it wasn't just a fly-by-night. We're gonna you know, this is what we're gonna do. A lot of thought process and a lot of research went into this. So, gals.
And these policies also come from state recommendations. It's not something that they just said, oh, this would work, you know, really well in Monroe City. No, it comes from trying to get everything updated, you know, to a state standard that is acceptable, that most very successful municipalities have already put in place and had in place for the last 10 years.
So do other municipalities have a bill for $300 one month and a bill for $600 the next?
That's not what we're talking. We're talking about the policies right now.
Oh. Okay.
We're talking about the policies right now.
What is the point of the, if you have multiple locations that all of them get disconnected? If one, like we have 4, what is the purpose of, like we have a little shop that usually runs about $35 a month versus our home?
So the purpose of that is to be able to collect payments. And that comes in a scenario where there is a significant outstanding balance that, I'm assuming you're referring to the landlord part of it, right?
Yeah, I felt like we were really picked on here. We had 15 properties in Monroe City. I always heard don't bite the hand that feeds you.
But if you have 15 properties, all of those properties are not in your name.
No,
They're in
I
the
have
person
4
renting.
in my own name.
Right.
So I don't understand even the 4. So say if 3 were paid on time and one $35 bill wasn't paid on time.
You're referring to the landlord portion of it.
No, she's not. She owns all 4 properties.
Okay,
The utilities are in her name.
So as a the personal part, I have 4 utility bills.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them which I've had to come up and ask because I just got one of my December bills just the other day. So I'm honest and I come up and ask, tell them I have 4 bills. But if for some reason, say my husband came up to pay and he has memory issues and say he forgets to say, we didn't get all 4 bills, so, and then you disconnect all 4 properties, what is the advantage of, if one doesn't get paid, you disconnect all 4?
So if one gets mistakenly missed, which we would
Which it
find,
does every time.
yeah, which we would find when we go to do our penalty calculations or our disconnect notices, chances are we're gonna reach out to the customer because we know that's probably what has happened because you have multiple accounts and we just see that one on there. We're gonna reach out to you and say, you know, we see that this one account is on our list, did you just miss it by chance?
But it says that there won't be any
Yeah.
notification, it's, our bill is considered our disconnection notice.
Right.
We
The
are
policy
going
letter
to,
doesn't
Wait a
say-
second. We're in order, please.
we are going to do our best to still communicate with our customers. We don't want to disconnect anyone.
Because it doesn't sound good in this, the way this was written up.
I understand.
Yes,
So why the policy changes? We've all lived in this town hundreds of years. Why all of a sudden it has to change? What is the difference? What is the difference?
yeah.
What's
Hey,
happening?
let's start this meeting the way we intended to, with introductions. These two ladies haven't worked with the city
Somewhere.
all that long.
Okay, Jason, go ahead.
So, well, we'll get to you, don't worry.
All right.
So this is Danette Henderson. She is from Perry, Missouri, and she was the city clerk at Perry for 15 years.
Doesn't live in Monroe City.
No, I said Perry.
Yeah.
What's your point?
None of them live in Monroe City. None of them have to deal with the utilities.
And that is a good thing, I think, because then I wouldn't wanna live in the same town, because all this flack, I wouldn't wanna have to deal with it every time I went to the grocery store and all that.
Okay.
Sorry.
They're qualified individuals at their job, it doesn't matter if they live here or not.
Oh, really? So
Right.
they can charge us whatever they want to, because on these rate sheets, that's not what we're getting charged. There's charges on here that aren't even listed.
Jacob, I just reviewed your bill with Ms.
Okay, so
Danette.
there are charges on these rate sheets that I asked for. What am I being charged? On these rate sheets, there is nothing about a $7.50 charge for a gas meter, nothing. But there's all of the other meters are on this list, right? So why are there charges not on here that we are getting charged for?
They have always been on your bill, they're calculated, the only way you would
But
see,
why, when you get
Tegan,
out of
the
my
only
bill-
way you would see that bill separate is if you didn't have any usage. Then it would show $7.50, and that would show that's your
Okay,
minimal
but
fee.
Still, it is not listed in here, is it?
Are you fussing about a $7.50 primacy fee that,
What else is in there, is what I'm saying. If $7.50 is not on this sheet, what else is in our bill that is not on this sheet?
those are just regular, that's a basic rate.
Okay.
If you want it on the sheet, we can fix that, we can put, you are charged this for your water meter, you're charged this
Yes,
for your gas.
please.
Perfect, that's
That would be
doable,
great,
we can do that.
that'd be wonderful,
Well, they have it on everything but the.
yeah, but the bill.
Okay, I'm gonna get back to where I was.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
And then, so Danette was with the city of Perry 15 years as the city clerk. Phoebe Ransom is from Shelbina, Missouri, and she has been with us, 6 to 8 months, something like that. And so we've got both of these gals doing utilities. So I think what a wise place would be to start is why we decided to implement a change.
Yeah, we'll start at the beginning.
Well, just what I know from when I came here, I know Mayor Hayes had asked for a committee to be formed to review policies and procedures, and at that time, I don't think she was having any follow-through with it.
Mhm.
And so then she asked Phoebe and myself to work on one, and when she did, she was there to review it for us, the council reviewed it several times for us. John Russell, the city attorney, even reviewed it for us. So that's how it came about. We were asked to look into it.
Well, and part of it was because of the way the ordinance read in the cutoff, how it read for cutting someone off. By the time that we were able to actually cut them off, by the way the ordinance read, they were almost 2 months into us, correct? And then if they left us hanging with 1 month and we're almost 2 months into it, they're almost into us for a second month before we can actually legally shut them off. And there was nothing but bickering from people saying, why are we having to catch, if rates went up, why are we having to pick up the slack for these people that left town and left City Hall hanging with the utility bill? So that's what brought this on, so that we can get them shut off, people with non-payment sooner, because there was nothing but bickering about it.
No, but it's others that pay it every month aren't even receiving bills, but expected to come up here and ask how much we owe.
But we're not responsible for the postal service.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but you guys.
So I'm responsible to come up here and pay a bill that I don't even know.
You
that I
can
owe.
post notices on everybody's door, but not the bills.
If you don't get the bill by the 10th, call
The cost
But that's
for
what we
posting
want.
those notices on the door is a lot of man hours involved. It would not even be remotely possible to do that with bills. It would be an absurd cost to the city. Absurd cost to the cities result in your utilities going up.
When you have a mortgage bill and a vehicle bill, doesn't it state right on your invoice, bill due by this date?
But
them.
I don't
You
get
know
a
when it's
bill.
due. You know
But
when
it,
it's
but,
due.
but
That's
this
right.
bill changes every month.
Yeah,
That's the
how are you
issue.
supposed to budget it?
Your bill changes every month because the cost to the city changes every month. We have to redo the rates every month on the electric
And gas.
You don't have
and
anybody,
gas.
You don't have anybody negotiating with you, going to those, entities to see if you can get a reduced price for the year?
You just take whatever they hand you?
So,
We have a contract with MPUA.
MPUA and MOPEP. MOPEP is our gas and MPUA is our electric.
Yeah, you gotta have a contract with
Well,
them.
we got-
Right.
Yes, sir, yeah.
And that is negotiated however many years the contract is for. I'm not for sure if it's 3.
3 years.
I'm pretty sure it's 3. Beth?
So, I guess the issue here is, we're moving it to the 15th instead of the 26th or 7th or whatever it is.
25th.
Okay, thank you. And the big thing is, well, you know it's coming, so budget. Well, our problem is we can't budget. Because one month I have a $325 bill, and the next month I have a $475 bill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other bills like that. Yes, they go up and they go down, but not that much. And so these people that are going from paycheck to paycheck are trying to budget, but they can't because they never know what's gonna come out. And then they don't get a bill in the mail, so they come up here thinking they're gonna pay their $300 normal bill, and they get slapped with a $650 bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So-
they can't pay the rent.
So
So then
that
that's-
is what I think most people here are having a problem with. And, they're very worked up. And then when you come lashing back at them, that's not helping the issue. We're wanting answers as to why this is happening. And then you got people on Social Security that don't get their payment, their, paycheck until the 20th. And now we're making it the 15th, and they're still paycheck.
Mhm.
They're waiting for the 20th to come so that they can make all their payments. And now they've got to what? Not get groceries for this month so that they can have enough for the 15th and wait for the 20th to then.
But this is not any new news. Since I've lived in Monroe City 20-some years, and your bill is gonna be different from summer to winter months. It's always been
$300
different.
Not in a
difference
month.
is
It's
not.
never been this high.
No.
Below zero for 2 weeks.
Not in mine.
Come on.
And we put out notices, so,
So you know it's gonna be high, right?
hold on a second.
I get that, but not $300 higher.
Well, I don't know, gas and electric.
So all of these notices, when we put out these updated utility collection policies, our guys went out physically and put them on every door on every property.
Yes.
6 weeks ahead of time, because we knew it was gonna be difficult for those that got a paycheck, well, we all do. We're basically all on limited income. We all have a paycheck, and we get it on a certain time every month, and those on fixed income. So we knew that, so we tried to get it out there 6 weeks ahead of time to allow for that process to happen within your all's budgets. But I don't know what to tell you about the fluctuation in the bill. All I can tell you is we're following what we're supposed to be doing with the rates. I mean, we're putting in everything the way it's supposed to be, and they're right. We've had MPUA in here. We've had them in here looking through everything to make sure we were calculating things right.
But you don't think there's a problem? You don't think that's a problem having a $300 difference in a utility bill?
In 1 month.
Yeah,
One month.
meaningful.
I mean, and if there's a problem, you can come in and we will reread. But if the meter is found right or sent off, then I don't have another answer for you.
I think another thing that might be contributing to this, so a large percentage of the meters in Monroe City, were old and outdated. They were underbilling. You were getting a lot of services that you weren't even being billed for because the meters were old, outdated, and inaccurate. Those meters have been, since updated, and along with the timing of rates going up. So now it's reflecting accurate usage when it's probably been years that it's been under reading. And I think that has a lot to do with some of the shift. We don't pull up anybody's bill on a monthly basis and say, let's charge her an extra,
Right.
let's make these rates.
I
We don't
understand.
even have control of those rates.
No, but when it's
Can
not just matters
I
of
finish,
issue
please?
like that.
I will be happy to listen to everything you have to say respectfully, but just let me finish. With that in mind, some of the guys have even proven that, the meters were reading on like a 20% of usage, like that's how bad the usage was being read. Not even close to half of what the usage actually was. So when those meters were replaced, you guys are seeing a hike in the real usage of the house. It is part of the problem. I know that's a large part of it. That's really hard, like, for us to sit up here to explain, and for any of us to justify, but, none of us were even around when those meters could have been replaced, or the city didn't have the funds or the manpower to get them replaced soon enough. So that is a big part of it.
This town's been screwed up for 40 or 50 years.
So-
We're all trying to.
When the electric meters are,
No one's building a day. Come on, these people are trying.
the electric meters, when they needed to be replaced years ago, they slow down. They slow down. So they're not depicting your actual usage. And I know it sucks. I mean, it sucks. Wait a second. My first month as your all's mayor, if you'll recall, we have a new sewer plant. And the council was supposed to do 3 increments of sewer rate increases. 3 increments, so it wouldn't be so bam all at once. They weren't done. So my first month coming in here, I had to whammy you guys with a triple sewer rate increase because we had to be able to pay. Our first loan payment was due to USDA, and that was USDA recommendation to do that. So I know it sucks. I feel for you, and I'm just as frustrated as you are. But these ladies are right. Meters were old, needed to be changed years ago. Then it wouldn't have been such a big old jump. It would have gradually, your meters would have been working the way they should have been
So
working.
how long have the meters been changed for now? How many months?
How long? When did we start?
Some of them.
Some of them just got changed.
We
Some
still
of them-
have like, what,
So
400?
how do we know if our house has been changed or
Some of
not?
the electric,
That's
there's
why
like
we're
30 or
having
40
such
water.
a big jump.
Yeah.
I haven't looked, but I'm just wondering.
There's no meter on
It's easy to see.
And we're trying to get them all changed out.
If you look at it, it's pretty easy. It's newer and it's old. I mean, and they were old.
And the good deal with the electric meters, just like the water, I don't know if you guys
Digital.
they're all digital. So the water meters now, you can download that usage app and you can see exactly to the hour, I think the hour's the lowest, what your usage is. So you can look on there on your phone or wherever and say, oh my gosh, there's a spike in my water usage. I got a toilet running, or there's a leak somewhere. The electric meters will be the same way. They're all digital. So you'll be able to have an app and you'll see if there's a spike in your usage. So maybe you've got a short in an appliance, or a freezer's running nonstop that needs to be looked at or something. You'll be able to track that better.
So are you talking electric meters and water meters?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because when I had that leak at Catherine, nobody was living there. It was like $600, and then
Mm-hmm.
they were first gonna replace the meter, and in the same meeting, they were not going to unless I paid the $100, because they said those meters were perfectly fine, there wasn't anything wrong with them.
Now the water meters, you can have do you have the app, Barb?
I haven't done it, no.
Yeah. There's a sheet over there on that table. You download that app and you can track your usage. And the electric meters will be the same way. Yeah.
So my question is have you all done a rate look around and compared our electric rates against everybody else?
Rate studies were done, let's see, I had a meeting with Paul Jensen months ago when we first started this process. And rate studies were done, I don't know how many years ago, but
I'm getting ready to do a rate study
Years
with
ago?
MPUA.
No, it was like 5, I think about 5 years
It was
ago.
since when Potter was in there.
Mhm.
I believe it was 19.
2019, okay, so yeah.
So how are they
One more
compared to
question.
Carrier Shalina?
I have not done that rate study yet. I'm getting ready to do that rate study, because I mean, with the questions.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you all live in there, if yours is similar.
I kind of look at mine compared to some, I have randomly pulled up, because I bring mine in just to kind of look at them. And I mean, I've lived in a house I've lived in 4.5 years, and I got the highest bill I've ever had in Shovana too. And they just put in our paper that our rates are getting ready to go up because we're behind rates there too. So, I don't know what that's gonna look like for us either, but I think it's across the board everywhere, so.
And I can speak for, the, like, Palmyra and Hannibal area. My electric bill, went up $245, in the month of January because of the 2-week cold spell that we had. The usage was there, and my water bill actually, I'm on Ross County Water, and one month I have water of $120. Next month it could be as much as $180. I also have 4 kids, and I know they leave toilets running nonstop sometimes, so, it's not uncommon. We're pretty comparable to, the rest of these municipalities. We're at a point now where we know, there's lots of issues, we're trying to get it better, we're trying to get, the billing has completely changed. It is billed so much more smooth, and I know there's an issue with getting the bills. We've completely changed the cards that go out, where the US Postal Service machine doesn't eat half of them right as they go through. I wish I had some influence on the Postal Service where they would sort them up here, in Monroe City. They will not, no matter what it is, they will not sort them up here. It now goes from Monroe City, once we drop it off, to St. Louis. And this was from the director of US Postal Service, down in St. Louis. He said, we should plan for 5 to 7 days, once it gets to Monroe City, for it to make it to St. Louis, 5 to 7 days to make it. And give them 3 to 5 days to sort it, 3 to 5 days for it to be delivered back here, and another 4 days once it gets back here to be sorted. And that's unbelievable to me. But that came from the director of operations in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
I went all the way up the chain of command saying this is ridiculous,
So then how, in that policy, why is the bill gonna be considered your shut-off notice if you don't pay when people aren't even receiving it?
So, if you haven't received your bill, call us, and I will happily give it to any of the guys, once they go to that area, they will put it on your door. I've got no problem bringing it to you myself.
I'm just saying, okay, me myself, I'm very busy right now. I mean, I'm dealing with a daughter who's dealing with an illness, that I'm traveling back and forth, I'm not home a lot, I've got a lot going on. So, for me to even remember to come up here on the 25th to ask what my bill is a lot. So like not receiving it, I mean, am I gonna be
I
penalized
completely get it.
for not paying it by the 25th since I didn't receive it? Will I still be penalized?
Yeah.
But then
Even though I didn't receive the bill?
You know it's coming.
Cause it's due on the 15th, so it's your
But
responsibility
y'all had
to,
said too, when we moved it to the 15th, that,
We're gonna read sooner.
that you can read sooner so they can get in the mail
In the
even
mail
sooner,
sooner.
yes.
That's the
hopefully.
plan, that is the plan.
moving to the app.
Jason,
Once we get to the front of
say
the
that
house,
louder.
they'll be able to-
Say that louder.
Say it loud. Hang
wait a
on.
second. Jason's trying, Alderman Osborne.
The reason why it was initially part of it was because, so that it was due on 15th, so that they could read sooner for the next month, so that it could get into the mail sooner, because of the issue with the Postal Service, that you can get it closer to the 1st, hopefully.
Cause we'll read the second Tuesday and Wednesday of every month now, that is the goal, is that's the second
Well, if you
Tuesday.
left it on the 25th, then you could keep it the same and then.
But then we have disconnects due at the same time, we have everything all
Okay.
piled up at the one time to get it all done.
What if you moved it to the 20th instead of the 15th, cut it in half, so then people are still getting their payments on the 20th, being able to pay their bills? You're still got 5 days in there to do what you gotta do.
Jason, did you say back in the day they used to be due on the 15th?
Yeah,
Gary?
that's what it is.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't get paid before the
That's
15th.
right.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
actually, the
But we
reason
actually
it
got
was,
a bill then.
Has anybody looked into possibly like an online system where?
It's-
That's the
It's
goal.
coming.
it's coming, we were just talking about that, so the apps that we have been talking about, Front Desk and the Water app, once Front Desk is up and functional, you will be able, once you have your login password, set a reminder on your phone, and you can log in as soon as those readings are available, and you can see that bill, like,
It will automatically.
Would there
yeah,
be
it'll
one
automatically,
place
you
where
can
you
probably
see
even set a
the
notification
entire-
to pop up on your phone.
Will there be one place where you can see the entire bill?
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that you guys have looked into?
Yeah.
So the water app will.
Should
show
be able to
you
see
that.
it all.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
Front desk will be your whole utility
Okay,
bill
so,
all on one.
I guess ladies, when do we anticipate that be fully functioning front desk, so the bills can be accessed online?
Email bills and people.
We have a soft date of April 1st that we are trying, there's not enough of us, up at City Hall right now to make make that happen. I have not had the time with everything else going on. I picked up a lot of the city administrator's responsibilities, so I've not had the time to focus on that project.
Well, and two, everybody's gonna have to know that they're gonna have to go in and initiate it. Once we get the front desk, the person will have to go in and initiate that to get it all sent, cause I didn't even realize we have it in Shelbina, but I ain't never used it. I didn't know I'd have to go in there to do something to kick it to myself. I don't do it,
This is
so.
not gonna work for a lot of people like senior citizens who don't even know what it is.
Right, so then they'll still get the paper bill. I mean, they'll still
It's not
get
gonna be
it.
a one or the other. It's gonna
Right,
be
you'll
both.
still get the
You'll
paper
have
bill,
both.
this is just to help with those that aren't getting their bill, they'll be able to access it online. I've got a recommendation. What if we wait to implement new policies until front desk is accessible to our community? That way, if they don't receive a bill, they will know that they can get online. Like if you're out of town, you'll be able to access it on your phone and you won't have to worry about it. What if we wait to implement new policies until we have front desk fully operable?
Of course, that's a council decision,
Well,
and
that's why
I
we
like
added
the
to
What
idea.
your bill is.
Hmm.
I've done that. If you call up.
Well, because I know it's a pain in the rear, and I know that we don't have any control over the postal problem, but I'm trying to find a resolution to help you guys. It's not our mistake, it's not your mistake, it's the post office with getting you the bill. We have them to where we're supposed to have them on time, but it's not getting here. So my solution, and I'll bring it to council, is what if these new policies do not go in place until everybody can access their bill in some form or another via front desk? When we have front desk going and you guys can access that, excuse me,
No, I'm listening.
then we put the policies in place. So if you don't get the bill in the mail, you will know that you could get on the app, and we will have a town hall meeting to discuss these apps, because I want everybody to be aware and how to access those apps.
To the 2 months into the delinquent bills again.
That's exactly what I was gonna
And so
bring up.
people
It's a
will
payment
complain
plan.
and
So,
go back to.
this-
So we're right back to where we.
The majority of the reason we're having these policies is because if you guys actually see the past due delinquent list, it would make you the people that are sitting in here that work hard and pay their bills in even a halfway timely manner, it would absolutely infuriate you at the uncollectibles. Without that policy, I can't do anything about it. I can't shut them off, I can't force them to pay unless we put that new policy in place. And I know a lot of you feel like, we're targeting you. No, there is a portion of Monroe City that those residents have been allowed to go months and months and months and months without making a single payment and not had any sort of disconnect, nothing. Do you wanna know who's paying the price? The people sitting in this room. You guys are the ones paying the price for those residents.
And that's why we decided to redo the policy, because they said we're having to pay for the people.
We understand the
It's a no-win situation. I've got,
we don't.
I've got 1 year left as an alderman, and then I am so done, because I'm sorry if I got snotty in the beginning, but after being, I figured out I've done 4 2-year terms, and it's just, you make this person happy, you make this one mad, you make this person happy, I'm done. But the thing that got my goat is, when it was time for people to sign up for aldermen,
Yeah.
some did, but then, and then some people have in the past, and maybe they were defeated, this and that, but then it's like, nobody seemed interested in taking it on.
And I really expected a full room, because I try to stay off Facebook, because I tend to want to get very defensive and protect the people that I know are up here busting their ass 60 hours a week trying to fix things. And then, so I try to stay out there, but I get on there and I see all these, I'm like, man, why do people have to be so ugly? We have to pay the same bill you guys have to pay. We have to pay the crap too, but.
I need to stay off there too, because I read it and then I go to school, and that's not.
And you take it out on the kid.
And what was-
Well, yeah, he's taking it out on the kids.
This is circle.
So,
But so.
This year.
what?
What was the dollar
No.
amount of delinquent bills?
The dollar amount of delinquent bills,
Yeah,
I don't have that
It was
paper with me.
700-some-thousand.
Yeah,
okay, take off Metalcraft, wouldn't like 156,000 for business and residential.
no,
If
it's
you took
more
off
than that.
Metalcraft, it still left it at like 250,000.
Yeah.
Which we've made great strides in the collections,
Yes, we have.
big strides, but just like a lot of
With
things.
the old policy, this is how, we had that much delinquent with the old
Mhm.
policy.
But
I do like
maybe
the
I should-
idea of moving the due date to the 20th, possibly, and
Okay.
then just have the 5-day grace period. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm for it, I'd meet them I'd meet in the middle.
I won't have any overdrafts.
I mean, because on the bill, it's been this way as long as I can ever remember. It says if you pay by the 25th, it's this, if you pay late, they give you another figure.
Right.
How does that ever figure in if it's disconnected on the day after? I
It's
never
the
could
day
figure
not
out
be.
where that
Because it
came
used to
from
not
in the
be.
first place.
It's not the day after.
Used
It's
to
after
never-
The 26th, it said disconnect.
But if the bill's due on the 15th.
Then you've got the days
penalty.
between the 15th and the
You got that.
26th that you pay a 5%
And then
added
you get
penalty.
Due date the 25th.
And then the 26th is the cutoff date.
It's this much.
She's
Yeah.
saying though, if you
That's
pay
because they
that
have a penalty on it.
after the 25th, if it's disconnected.
Why does it even show that that's an option to pay it after that?
Well, because if you come in the 16th, you're gonna pay a 5%. If you come in the 18th,
But
you're
it
gonna pay.
doesn't give you a day, it's saying you're gonna pay this, so you're saying if I paid it in a week or 50 days or 2 years, I'm still only gonna pay
You're gonna be disconnected the
$20
26th.
difference?
The new one is gonna, they're gonna disconnect your butt.
Cause right now, the disconnect is, what is it, the second Monday after the first Friday, I mean, so it
Yeah.
moves all over, so we can't give you a bill that says a definite
It
date,
was the
so.
15th when I first was married.
And here's the reason, because it was the 15th, but if you had it automatically withdrawn from your checking, it was the 25th. So they had two different dates. If you didn't have it withdrawn from your checking, it was due on the 15th. If you had it automatically withdrawn, it was like the 25th. So they had two different dates they're dealing with. So they decided to move it to the 25th, so it
Right.
all come out at the same time.
Right, I remember that.
Because I guess they couldn't move it to the 15th for an automatic withdrawal from the bank. And so they moved it so it was all on the 25th.
So I'm sure some people were mad they had to pay on the 15th, and other people didn't have to pay on the 27th.
Mhm.
Probably, I'd have to ask Gary. And I bugged him enough.
No, but I just think the 20th, cause then people with SSI would have their paychecks and be able to pay the utility bill.
But part of this, we started talking about this 2 months ago, and we asked for input 2 months ago from people, the council, from anybody. I mean, we didn't just put this into effect last week, I mean, we've been talking about it at council meetings for the last month
What
and a
about-
half. Nobody else
what about
come to
the
give us
first?
any ideas then.
What about the first? If it was the first of the month, when your rent's due, your, house payment, whatever.
That's all due at the first though.
Oh,
That-
I was just gonna answer her question. The reason that most people don't come to the meetings is because they get so infuriated they can't handle it.
We get the.
You not understand that, we thought
Oh, I
we all
get
work
it.
the same job.
Well, that's kind of silly to me because like I said, we're all adults, so I mean, if somebody just
But
would.
it doesn't appear that.
Some people have to work 2 jobs to pay the utilities.
I was totally treated like a trash demolition. I was ridiculed, laughed at, lied to, the due date on the appeal wasn't acknowledged, so this is why people don't come to these
Mhm.
meetings. This is the first one I've been to since then, and it devastated me for months. So that's why people don't come to these
Mhm.
meetings. Just
You
so
can't,
you
you can't.
Okay.
I got one more question.
And also, go ahead, I'm sorry.
In the past, we got the bills and they were in-house, which they were in the town. What happened? I mean.
Why
you-
did they ship them to?
Yeah, we used to do them here in the house, you get counted for them here in house. Then you sorted them and then you took them up to the mail deal, what happened?
Monroe City said, absolutely not anymore, we won't be doing it this way, they didn't care if we sorted them ourselves,
who
they were
has
still
the
gonna
power?
raise the
so is it
price.
just the Monroe City Post Office thing?
No, every single one.
Ours goes to St. Louis.
Palmyra, and I seen this comment on Facebook and I wanted to reply back to it, but I didn't. Somebody had said, I've called all my friends that live, in all the surrounding municipalities, nobody's dealing with this. I have been on the phone with Palmyra, I've been on the phone with REC, I've been on the phone with Hannah, I have literally made connections in every single one of these, and every single one of us are going through the same struggle. So that statement, completely disregard that. I don't know who they were talking to, but and if you Google it, you will see the state of Missouri has got involved with the Postal Service in St. Louis and is going to start regulating that because it became a statewide, quickly nationwide issue.
Yeah, our state representatives are getting involved with that. It's kind of out of our hands, but,
Well, and then because I don't know, Paris has been getting theirs, I think, haven't they, Becky? Because, and so, my aunt was the postmaster of Stoutsville, and she said everything with the 652 prefix on their zip code goes to Columbia, I believe. So Stoutsville, Columbia, or Stoutsville, Paris, all that goes to Columbia. And then ours, 634, goes to St. Louis. So that could, I don't know, I just remember her saying that.
And Palmyra they don't even do cards, they stuff all theirs in envelopes, trying to get it, thinking that it would get there better, but they said they're having the same problem with their whole envelopes and letters being lost too, so.
I know, in my business, we're having trouble with getting mail to and from, I mean, it is a
Nobody wants to be a post office worker right now either, so.
Yeah, they went on strike in St. Louis, which also is another portion of the workload that they're dealing with.
And the mercury spill. And the mercury spill they had.
That too, I'm sure.
So then when it goes online and you can access your utility bill online, then then you can just look at it.
Because they'll have the option to go, either just receive it electronically, or they can click on there that they still want their card and the electronic statement, so they can, kind of like you do on all your bills, if you still want to,
paper bill or
paper
electronic.
or, but, so they'll have the option. It'll also change ACHs. We won't be able to do ACHs in-house anymore. You'll have to go on and load your own check and everything through that front desk. We're not allowed to have any credit card information anymore, any check information, anything in-house anymore.
That's
That'll all have
really
to
to your
go.
benefit, that,
So the fee you're gonna pay is not on us, cause there's gonna be a fee.
Yeah.
So we won't be able to do the ACH?
You can, but you'll have to go on and initiate it through the
Through
front desk
desk.
and set it up with them through a secured location, but there will be a charge to do it that way.
I think they said
That's
there
already
is-
a charge on my card when I did it once.
With a credit card it is, but right
Yeah.
now your checks are not, but this, when we go to the new, it's $2.
Yeah.
But that's not us making, that's the
Yeah, we
security
don't
making
get that
the.
money either.
Well, I've been coming to all the meetings, and I've been here on the 15th, and it was my own fault for not paying attention as to when our social security check fell. So then when it got swished, then I thought, well, I'll write this on the calendar. And then I realized, oops, that's when I realized that the social security check doesn't come till after the 15th, so we would have a penalty. So that was on my fault for not paying attention to bring it to.
And part of it is the way we have to pay MPUA and MOPEP and everything, when the city has to give them their money for all the electric and stuff we've used. That's part of why that date's changing too, because we're having to pay them for the service, so. They're not giving us we get that bill at the beginning of the month.
There's a 2-week turnaround from the time we get our invoice for our electric and gas to when we have to pay that bill. We have 2 weeks to pay that. And those are significant amounts, but, so, we don't get 45 days.
And like the landlords, I know you have landlords, we're trying now to sort by landlords and go by alphabetical order, so if you have more than one bill, we're trying to, and we didn't get them all caught this month. We were all frantic trying to get bills out this month to get them out a little faster. But we are trying to get them to where if you have multiples, that we're putting them in an envelope and sending them in one envelope to one location. And we know we missed some, but we're gonna try to sort them a little bit different this
So you're
time,
gonna
so
get
you
them
can
all
get them
in
all
one-
in one envelope, so.
Like on those, people just move out. Half the time we don't even know we'll get, somebody will say, oh, I think your renter's moving out, and luckily we've surprised a few of them.
So then you get home with the rent.
Yeah.
We had no idea half the time.
And again,
That's gonna change too.
we can't control it,
But I can go up there and say when they move, change it to put it back in our name, right? And it's,
you guys, we have a form for
Yes,
landlords.
we have a landlord designation form.
cause that's typically, they would call us and say, they just,
And we're gonna continue to try to do that. We want to hear from the landlord about what they want done on their property. We don't just want to turn it off if the tenant comes in and not even acknowledge that there's a landlord. No, we intend to continue conversations and contacting the landlords.
Can you, just listening, can you hear how just non-efficiently the city has been operating? Like, they have really been babysitting a lot of residents and going above and beyond what their job should be. I mean, at some point, individuals have to take responsibility for their own business. And it's not these ladies' job to tell you when somebody moves out of your property, or to, you know, we've got to hold our residents accountable for their own stuff.
Well, unfortunately, you all taking care of your stuff affects people have to pay utilities, but then they don't pay the rent. So what you guys do actually really hurts my business.
Right.
I can't do a thing about it.
Well, as a landlord, you have an option of charging larger deposits. We aren't able to do that for unpaid utilities, unfortunately. We
have to go by what we're said to charge.
Well, I know, but I can't be responsible if somebody has a contract with you. My renter has a contract with you guys. So I'm not on that. Once they sign in, pay their deposit, that's with you and them, not me.
Correct.
So that's your all's business, not mine.
Right, but
Therefore, I'm not responsible for them.
Exactly.
At that point, you all are.
Yeah.
So I guess I do take care of my business.
Great.
So I have another question. We have the budget billing. We're already 800 in the hole. And I know it's because, you know, it was cold this winter and yada yada. So, in order for us not to get hit hard when it comes time for the budget billing again, is there a way that we can maybe pay extra and mark it on the check that goes to what we're in the arrears for? Like
anytime.
Because we've never been 800 in the hole on budget billing before.
Anytime. And when you say your budget is 300, you pay 400, that extra 100 is going to go towards your bucket.
They raised mine. They wanted to raise it. We were paying 300, and then they wanted to raise it to 500. I said, we can't. Not on Social Security. We can't jump it 300 to 500. Can we just meet you a little ways at 400? But now we're still. It's been running 200 over.
And how Jackie figured those budgets like that? She took your 12-month average, because Jackie and I she told me how she did it. She takes your 12-month average and gives that number, and then whatever you were in the rear last year, she takes that and divides it by 12, and then she adds a 5% increase to try to keep you from being in the negative. I mean, so that's where she come up with that 500, because, you know, your arrear was so much. So then some people
paid their arrears to start fresh.
Okay.
And so then she said,
So
well,
that's how she
since
lowered your
you're
payment
within the
down.
arrears, why don't we raise it to 500? And that's a big chunk, you know, a month. And so, which I guess wasn't so big since we're paying that much anyway, but it ended up now where we're like 200 a month. It keeps running over. So we're already 800, and I'm hoping the warmer weather was gonna help balance it out. But I didn't know if that would mess things up if we pay that difference.
No, and anybody who's not on a budget, you don't have to be on a paper budget plan to pay a budget. I mean, that computer will give you, if you want to average and give us $400 and it's over, we'll give you a receipt and it'll show on there what you've paid extra, so that, and what will happen now, that won't go towards a budget, so then your next month's bill, it will automatically take whatever you paid over this month off of next month's bill and lower it by that, because there was some miscommunication with a guy that he thought he was building up some kind of credit because he'd been paying over, but no, it automatically takes that off of your bill, and so your next bill will reflect whatever you paid over this month. But anybody can pay over.
I just didn't know if it would mess things up if we know.
No, it gives us the choice to put it towards balance or budget.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So you're gonna change it to the 20th on the payment?
That'll have to be a vote by council, so we'll bring that up at the next council meeting.
But not until that front desk is applied, right?
No,
No.
but if you wait to the front desk, then you're gonna
Yeah.
allow that
That's-
the payment.
I know
plan
you
and all
guys
that
really
to
wanna
join.
push that bad and not roll out with that. it takes away my ability to hold a certain population, that is taking advantage of the system, is taking advantage of people sitting in this room who do come in and make
But
their
we could do
payments.
You're talking about moving it to the 20th or holding off on the policy?
Hold off on the policy.
Policy
Well, the
mostly.
20th, you could go on and vote on.
Yeah,
No,
we'll,
not tonight.
we'll
No,
roll
not
forward,
tonight, but
roll
next
forward
month.
with the policy, the new policies, but we'll bring it to council at the next meeting to change the date from the 15th to the 20th.
But only make it one day, every 2 or 3 years, and I'll be late.
It'll make a difference on social security.
Yeah. It will me, could either get a overdraft
We get it on a third Wednesday.
at the bank or I get it through live feed. So,
And again, that was one reason we started so early, that we wanted to push these new policies out to you 6-7 weeks ahead, to give you a chance to,
Can you just fix the verbiage in the policies?
to,
Whatever that they were talking about earlier, where, about the cutoffs.
what was,
About the bill, like they were going to notify you if you didn't pay it
Oh.
before the cutoff.
right, I think the new bill does have different verbiage on it, as far as the cutoff and 5% penalty.
Well, it has a disconnect notice on it, which
Yeah,
is
the new-
needed for NECAC services.
The new
Okay.
bill has a disconnect notice on it. Is that what you're talking about?
That is the.
I'm just saying this policy,
This
when
next one.
it says that, cause you guys said earlier, like,
That they would reach out if
Yeah.
there was,
if there was like, if you were paying your bill and you just happened to miss it, like they would reach out and be like, hey, we saw you just happened to miss your bill, we're not gonna cut you off if you come pay it.
We're doing that on a regular basis.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, can we
can't
change
put it in
that,
the
the
papers 'cause
verbiage
then
in
we're
the
held
policy?
To put that we're gonna call, no,
No, that would be taken advantage of.
yeah.
Well, that's true.
If you truly
Because people would
see
be
what we're
waiting for
dealing
that.
with, it would be absolutely 100% taken
And
advantage
then
of.
but they
they
could, I guess, so what we're, well, you can still do it,
Yeah,
but it
And
just
we're
won't be-
trying to do it, but yeah.
Okay.
I just don't like to
Right.
make your disconnects, cause I haven't been receiving it. And like, I know that I'm not the only one, you know what I mean, and
And she
there's,
knows it's due on the 20th, just sometimes it slips your mind.
Right.
yeah. And I mean, there's older individuals in town that might not be receiving it or something, and they might not know, or, I don't know.
I have no problem giving you my cell phone number, and if you haven't gotten it by a certain date, shoot me a text, I will put it in your mailbox on my way home, I have no problem doing that.
I mean, it's not a big deal, like, I don't mind coming up, I'm just saying, it's
Remembering.
Yeah.
a lot sometimes. And I know not everyone can do that, like, you know, they don't have schedules where they can do that every month.
What kind of deal you got with the post office? How do y'all pay the post office? You pay as soon as you mail or what?
And when we take all the postcards, we take them all at the same time to mail, and we take a check with us at the same time. They all go out the same time.
I was told the other day that y'all was behind with the post office.
No,
That's
that's
not
not correct.
Chief,
So we had a bunch of people, calling with complaints, wanting us to look into a lot of the stuff in the police department. We did go talk with, the post office, they did confirm that all the bills being sent out to St. Louis is not coming from the local post office. There's something happening throughout the state. Their higher ups are wanting to be able to track how much this information is going through, so they know how much money should be going back to each individual local post office. Also, I did confirm with them that there was no issues with payments from the city to the post office other than 1-2 month period, which they knew was going to happen and everything got talked through, and that was several years ago. So as far as all that, there's nothing there to be worried about.
thank you, Chief.
Maybe don't believe everything you hear.
Can we also get this updated to add all of the charges that are
Yes.
being charged?
I wrote that down. Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
So do the rates change monthly, what the rate is that she has on this piece of paper?
Yes.
Mhm.
That'll be
Yes.
different next month?
Yeah.
The, the
Electric.
the
And
privacy
electric and
fee.
the gas.
Not the
Electric.
gas.
The privacy
It's a
fee.
service
Oh, the rate.
Is what you call it, maybe like the set $7.50 that she's talking
Yeah.
about.
How do we know?
Service fee,
Is
I
the
think
rate
it's-
reflected on the bill? It is on the back. It used to be on the,
Not the rate.
Okay, not the
Because
rate.
it fluctuates.
So we're confused, and this is what we wanna find out here. So this is what came in the mail.
I think we should know what the rates are so we can double check our bills.
Okay.
Well, maybe we could.
So it says that this amount is due now, but then it only says due after that date. It doesn't like say, you know, you're gonna disconnect.
So, this amount, your due date is here, so this amount, is due after the 2/25/24.
So this is an old one. This is not the new one.
No.
So the new one's gonna look different and tell you more
And
information.
it's gonna have verbiage
That's the
on
new
here
one. That's
that
my
it'll
bills.
be,
But it doesn't start till April
But
first.
that's not the new one.
Yeah, it tears,
It's
well,
not
this
a line,
is different
it's
than what
an
it was.
additional.
Yeah, if they tear different.
They changed the card.
This just says
Yeah.
here,
Mhm.
payments considered delinquent, that's when that amount
Because they were
goes
having-
into.
But there's
effect.
still the late fee on the
There's still a late fee.
Yeah,
Right.
new bills, they
Yeah.
asked her to come out,
Mhm.
so they changed it to the bottom, because then she didn't say this was doing the
So I can't figure out.
We can still pay the.
Okay.
And it'll have.
Okay.
but technically this is the new hard stop bill. So it should have more so that it should get you. That's what, like, the verbiage would be
Okay.
different.
Got it. All right.
Don't have tax refunds because they get charged tax, it doesn't say on there.
I thought it did have sales tax
So,
on the old
yes.
ones. It did.
You put on the new ones, it doesn't have a line for tax.
I got it fixed.
Yeah, we
We've heard
fixed it.
about that a
Yeah.
hundred times.
Because the card stop that.
I said, well, you can guarantee the tax is included in that.
You got 8 on by the post office. But then,
Okay.
once the policy is put in place, they'll have
And a
extra
cup.
information on here about where this connect.
And were we gonna update that 30-minute window for commercial to change that to 60 minutes? Remember I was talking about that before?
Oh, for the disconnect at the
For commercial.
manufacturer and industrial?
Right. And the other question was, with the bad check policy, it says what will happen, that they'll have to make that payment by cash or money order or whatever, but it doesn't say, are we gonna continue to take checks from that customer? It doesn't specify anything.
Okay.
Or whether it be, you know, a 2 strikes and you're out situation or something.
And then like the commercial and industrial, they're probably gonna get more than a half hour to an hour notice
Right.
anyway. Our guys are going down there early enough, cause they don't wanna mess up anybody's
Oh,
mission.
yeah.
I mean, they're giving, Carrie Lee and them have been great about going down and going above to give them extra time.
Yeah.
We don't want their pots to freeze up and we cause more damage to that. I mean, usually 24 hours you need to give them to be able to shut down properly.
Proper, yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah. And we don't, it creates more work for us to have to shut people off and, you know,
Yeah.
it's not something nobody wants to do.
Hopefully we never need to need it,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we were bombarded so hard at the beginning because of all of the, you know, delinquencies, and then we try to rectify the situation, and it's just hard to find that sweet spot where you're not punishing those, where the ones that are paying on time don't feel like they're being punished, but
Right.
yet you're, you know, rectifying the situation of collecting past due bills as well. As there's no sweet spot, there's not,
No, no.
there's just not, but.
You all charge a reconnect fee when you shut somebody off.
Yep. Right now it's set at $20, but when the new policy goes in, it's $40 per service. So if we shut your electric, water, and gas off, it's $120 to turn them all back on.
Well, that might help alleviate some of it.
We had one today, we sent guys out, and 10 minutes later, the person was back up here paying. Well, they had just left their house, had to go back in and light all their pilot lights and everything for their gas, and all the city got was $20. I mean,
Yeah.
and they lost. I mean, we lost today, but
That situation is, a good example of what, I've been talking about. It's an individual that, has taken advantage of the payment plan. I had worked with her and begged her, she was supposed to bring me, a certain amount of money, 2 weeks ago. And it literally, I timed it, it took her 7 minutes and 21 seconds, once power was off, to come up and pay that. And I was so frustrated because those 2 guys had to go out and invest at least an hour into that shut off when it took her 7 minutes to come up, but she never would have made that payment if I
If
had
we
shut
had-
her off.
yeah.
I agree. And without that policy, I'm
So back
limited.
to, like mine with the 4 bills, so you're saying that if, say, one doesn't get paid, you're gonna shut off all 4, which would be all 3 per.
I'm gonna try to collect
So
some
like
money.
12 things that would be $20 a piece.
40. Yeah,
4 properties.
at $40 per
I
utility.
think you're,
Yeah, I'm still not understanding what the point of that is.
No. You're not gonna shut off all of them, are you?
Yes.
Oh.
If
It's-
one of that 4 that's in my name, I still don't
So-
understand
Is
that.
it under 1 meter?
No, they're 4 different locations.
Well, why would they shut off all 4?
A lot of that's for landlord policy, because we have some landlords that they're letting them all get behind.
so.
And so that's the only way to get their attention, is that we're gonna shut off all their if it's in their, and it's only in their name. It doesn't matter if they own it and it's in a tenant's name, we're not touching that tenant's
Right. The
power.
ones that are in their
It's only
name,
in
that
their
are
name.
delinquent, are getting shut off.
There has been
I have
situations
4
where,
properties in my name.
so there have been, so if all of your other properties are paid timely and there's only one property that isn't paid timely, I'm gonna know, hey, something probably isn't right, this warrants a phone call, and I'm gonna call you, or Danette's gonna call you, and just reach out and see what's going on. The situation that policy is referring to is when a landlord is very aware of an amount that is owed and blatantly refuses to pay that amount. Okay, we'll shut it all off until you wanna rectify, until you wanna be, in good standing with the rest of the bills. That is what that is speaking to, because we have had that situation. And
Because
the
some-
bill was.
Because some like have a property that has multiple, like, is that where the landlord pays the utilities? And not
The landlord's letting the person keep them
Yes,
in,
the
landlord's
landlord,
keeping them in their
yes,
name.
so the landlord has continuously not addressed getting those utilities moved to the tenant. And it just, it unfortunately, it happens more than it ever should. It grew and grew, and it is thousands and thousands of dollars. And once it got to a certain price tag, he's like, that's not my problem, I'm not paying it, okay. That policy allows me to enforce payment, cause he's gonna come pay that bill if he wants utility service on any property. And
So
that's not us trying to target you, I'm gonna know if you have paid 3 out of 4 and 1 was just missed, that's gonna warrant a phone call.
Okay.
There's gonna be a phone call, there's gonna be a reach out, it's not gonna be an automatic
No.
cut you off, it's nothing like that, there's going to be
I just
communication.
couldn't
There's,
understand where that even,
that's just the policy that allows us to, enforce situations
so
like that.
it is
from
for,
happening.
it basically you said it because of a landlord that has multiple, pays the utilities and charges the probably renter a lot higher rent to cover.
Yeah.
And then doesn't pay the bill.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I mean, we have to have something in writing to be able to legally enforce when we need to enforce.
Right, but I couldn't understand that, cause I
Yeah.
didn't think it was a landlord, but now I understand. Cause these aren't my rent rental properties.
If there aren't any other questions, we've been here an hour and we'll just get out of here if you guys are done. If not, yeah.
Everybody knows they got bills. I've been paying my bills ever since 18 years old, I'm 66. I know when my bills due. Okay, on the 10th, I call you up on the phone. I've had several times this year, because you all screwed up and who knows what the heck's going on. I know I got that bill, so I pay it. I go up there, I have no problem. I give my receipt, I'm fine.
Yeah, I get it, but we also understand it's such an inconvenience when you don't have it, yeah.
She's only got 1 meter, and she's got 4 people. Okay, I can see the problem there.
Mhm.
Okay, that's fine, yes. But you're all responsible adults. You know what your bills are due.
But life
I've had like
happens.
60,
Life
50
happens,
years.
and not everybody's life is a rosy picture.
Yeah, we get it. Rich, we're just trying to work with everybody. We want everybody to be successful here.
Yeah. I mean,
Pay 'em?
I know I got bills, I got payments, or I use what I got.
Oh, okay, so I have one more question. So I got a new electric meter, like everybody else did. Except for mine is not on my house, it's on the light pole in the alley, outside of my fence. So if something were to happen to that, is that my responsibility still?
I still have a lot of questions with the electric poles in town, whose responsibility is what pole, because I'm getting all kinds of different stories, and I don't even have an answer for you yet.
Cause I just don't know, cause it's outside of my fence, it's not anywhere that we would normally be, but there's children that play all through there. I know that, you know,
Right.
nobody would need to do it, but if something happened to it, would I be responsible?
That's not something I've ever heard of. In other municipalities, city is responsible for that meter.
That's what I always thought too.
I mean, unless it's a situation where you get really mad at us and decide to plow your car and on top of it, please don't do that. But even then, that's still gonna be, the city owns that. Yes, it's for your house, but.
Well, I thought there was something
We're
said that
responsible.
I mean, like it's.
The water meters, they said
Yeah.
they're taking
The only
I
money.
think that's where it goes back to the
Tampering.
improvement.
If you get shut off and you tamper with your meter and you turn your electric back on, not only is there gonna be some, charges probably from the police department, I think that maybe is what you're thinking of, maybe. But that's tampering, wrongful tampering, criminal tampering. That meter's our responsibility, and we intend to maintain it. It's a system that the city has invested in, it's expensive, so.
I just wanna make sure, cause that's the one thing I noticed when I was checking my meters, that it is not on my house. I had to find it.
We've got one that's not on the house too, it's on a pole, but it's still on our property, but.
Well, and that's actually better, because if you have dogs, it makes life a lot easier reading that meter.
Yeah, because that's a big issue. We've got several water
Yeah,
meters we
the
can't get
fire,
to
lightning
because
bolt
they're-
hitting it, like it's a benefit all the way around.
Go ahead.
I think you're responsible from the weatherhead on top of your house, wherever, down to the meter, you're responsible for that water. If you read in your ordinances.
Okay.
Or when I was a contractor, I had to come up here and get Kerry Lee's, get a permit to replace them. You're all responsible for the meter, but from the mast down to that meter is the homeowner's responsibility, and from that meter into your house is your responsibility.
Yes, from
You're
the meter
responsible for the
on,
meter.
from the meter on, it is the resident's responsibility. But you're saying you were told from coming into the meter?
Yep,
We need to look
from the
into
weatherhead down.
Weatherhead, yeah.
Yeah, I had lots of questions about that myself.
Good.
Yeah, because when a tree fell on mine and ripped it off the house, that was my responsibility.
Yes, sir.
I got, let's see, one, two, I got 3 poles on my property. And they provide electricity to my shed. But that's an easement for the city to come down and work on. It's an easement on my property. They told me that I'd have to pay for the pole. But you shouldn't have to, because there was no road after that, all the way through.
And we get paid, we get charged monthly too for that,
For a pole?
because there's a light on it.
No,
For the
I don't
light,
If you have a security light, it's yours,
Well,
yeah.
I don't
Not
have
for the
light,
pole.
but it goes to Moyer's. That pole does on my property.
And that's part of this question that I'm checking into about whose responsibility are what poles.
Well, I asked them to replace that first pole, and 5 years ago, they replaced the one they just put in 10 years prior, and they said, that's a good pole, and then what did you change it for? And they changed it, but I never got a charge for it because it's not my pole.
Because it was on our part of the easement.
Yeah. And so it was Moyer's. I wanted them to change Moyer's pole, cause this, only thing's holding it up is guide wire. And it's got I think, may have a transformer on it, I'm not sure, maybe I did. But I hit it with my lawnmower, about knocked it down. I just sat there and waited till it went over, and there wasn't no place to go.
I'm looking into that about the pole
Alright.
situation. That question has arisen multiple times, and like I said, I didn't think anything about it. I assumed, which we all know what assuming does. I assumed
Yeah.
all the poles were the city's responsibility, and Carrie Lee said no.
The pole that they did replace, now it's leaning. It needs a guide wire on it.
Mhm.
And I had the guy come and looked at it, and he said, that'll get guide wire. And yeah, you're right, that one needs to be replaced.
What's your address?
615 South Monroe Street.
So I don't have all your answers about that, but I'm aware and trying to figure it
Okay.
out, yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, Lawn Street deadheaded right there at Monroe Street. They didn't have another road. That's why they quit putting the powers behind
Okay.
people's house.
I'll look into it some more.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you guys for coming out. We'll have another one. When's the next one? March 4th at 6 p.m. So come back if you come up with some more questions, and just remember, we're open. And these ladies will, if you've got questions about your bill, come in here. These ladies will work through it with you and get your questions answered. So, all right. And also, you have aldermen. Utilize your aldermen. Reach out to them. Make them do their job and ask them questions, and so we know what's going on out there. If we're not made aware, we don't know how to help you and how to fix things and make it better. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you guys.